I've watched a handful of your videos and noticed that you have one explaining Arukenimon but not one for Mummymon, who directly accompanies her most of the time in Adventure 02. Is he going to get a video eventually? Hello my good friends, I hope you're all doing fine. This video subject came by Eric Ledger, who contacted me via email, and you know what? He is absolutely right. We went extensively through Arukenimon in a video of about 15 minutes, and we concluded that there was actually way more to this Digimon than what we saw in the anime. And the same goes with its partner Mummymon, with who it was paired up during the events of Digimon Adventure Season 2, and both were brutally murdered by MaloMyotismon, who wanted to test its newfound powers. Truly, it was a tragedy when I watched it with my little kid's eyes. I mean, the duo were bad, but they weren't what I would call evil or demonic. But the reason why it took some time for me to discuss Mummymon is because, unlike Arukenimon, Mummimon's line, while being short, is still one that will tell you a whole lot about the digital world and hence the Digimon multiverse. And I did not yet feel capable of doing it justice, because this franchise is still expanding, and we were missing so much information back when I first began making videos about Digimon, and also at the time I made the Arukenimon video. But now I feel confident enough, as there is more information available, so enough talk, let us get into it. To better understand Mummymon, you'd have to take into account the story unfolding in Digimon Adventure Season 2. That's where you actually get its origin story, and that's where the character was completely fleshed out. But before we go straight ahead, let me first guide you through its appearance. So obviously it does its name justice. Mummymon is based on the Egyptian mummy. I believe most of you all know what a mummy is. It's basically a dead human whose body is wrapped in linen cloth. There is obviously way more to say about it, but that's not the point of the video. Mummymon is your typical and also a bit atypical mummy. That's why you can't exactly know what it is thinking, or even difficult to understand because it is taciturn and its facial expressions are concealed. But despite all of this, you will see in a moment, it remains a very dangerous being. When you pay close attention, you will see that its appearance is hardly human. Its skin is grey and wrinkled, it lacks ears and a nose, it only has one eye, which is often yellow. In addition, its physique is odd, with wide shoulders, long arms, and unusually large hands. During the anime, it usually appeared as a humanoid dressed in a royal blue coat and a hat. Its partner Arukenimon did the same. Both had the ability to appear as humans and also blend in among humans. It is very unusual for a Digimon to disguise itself or even appear like a human. Usually they hide entirely. Think of All Force Vidramon during the Cross Wars arc in the manga. It had to hide in a shed. But you see, for Arukenimon, it does actually make a whole lot of sense that it has this ability, because it is based on the Jorogumo. It is a creature of Japanese folklore that can shapeshift into a beautiful woman. And we talked about it in one of our shorts. I'll put the link of it in your description box. But aside of that explanation, there's actually another more sinister reason why both Mummymon and Arukenimon can appear like humans. That's why I wanted to discuss their version of Digimon Adventure Season 2 to explain their origin story. You see, Mummimon's creation is arguably one of the darkest and most unique origin stories in the franchise, as it was not born from a digi-egg, but rather engineered through a fusion of human genetics and digital science. On paper, the creator of Mummymon and Arukenimon is a man named Yukio Oikawa, a brilliant human geneticist with one of the darkest stories in the whole franchise. That's why it had gotten a whole chapter dedicated to him in the Digimon Multiverse video. You better check it out, because he became one of the few humans who evolved into a digital life form, which takes the form of the digital butterflies, and in this form it even traveled through time and through the universe. But to help you understand Oikawa, he created Mummymon and Arukenimon because he was deeply desperate to enter the digital world. As a child, Oikawa and Cody's father, Cody being a digidestined partner to Armadillomon, both had interacted with the digital world, and they promised each other that they would go there together. But Cody's father was tragically killed trying to save, I believe, a politician or someone important. That's even why, when the Season 1 Digidestined defeated Myotismon and returned to the digital world, Oikawa witnessed everything and began crying, holding the picture of his deceased best friend and then yelling to the Digidestined to take him with them. Really tragic. Of course, the Digidestined went straight to the digital world and Oikawa remained there in the human world. And so, motivated to get to the digital world, he extracted samples of his own human DNA and translated the genetic code into digital data. He spliced his digitized DNA directly into existing Digimon core data files, resulting in a cloning adjacent procedure bypassing the natural evolution cycle of the digital world, generating Mummymon and Arukenimon directly into their ultimate form. By creating entities out of his own DNA, Oikawa was trying to send a piece of himself into the digital world. But ironically, while Mummymon and Arukenimon could travel freely between both dimensions, Oikawa remained trapped in the human world, fueling his descent into villainy. But this is why Mummymon and Arukenimon have a half Digimon, half human composition, allowing them to shift between Digimon form and human form. Understand that this is their origin story in the Digimon Adventure universe. Both appear in many different stories across the Digimon multiverse, across the various timelines, and they have totally different origin stories. In these other stories, they can't even change themselves into humans. Well, let me correct myself, because Arukenimon did use its human form in the Digimon Ghost Game story, and I believe in the Digimon Survive story. But again, even if you take its origin story of Digimon Adventure Season 2 into account, still it is based on the Jorogumo, who can shapeshift into a human. Now, I do remember that I did say in the Multiverse video that while one Digimon can have several origin stories, they are all of them in one way or another also connected to each other without them necessarily knowing about it. In some cases, that means that, for example, a Mummymon could also tap into its human form, though that won't necessarily be a given. But a Digimon can have multiple origin stories, and you can see at one point you can basically retrieve all origin stories in that one Digimon. Because again, you can take one Digimon and see it across the multiverse. They are all connected to each other in one way or another. It's like how it was explained in the Digimon Cyber Sleuth story, that when you kill a member of the 7 Demon Lords, well, that power will be transferred to another version of that killed member across the multiverse, making it actually more powerful. Yeah, Digimon can be complicated, I know, but that's why I created the channel, to help you understand it. Now, I did say that on paper Oikawa is the father of Mummymon and Arukenimon, but the truth is that Oikawa did not accomplish this feat entirely on his own. Following the defeat of MaloMyotismon, the disembodied spirit of Myotismon possessed Oikawa's vulnerable mind. Myotismon was actually the one who provided the supernatural and digital knowledge required to combine flesh and data. The truth is that because Mummymon and Arukenimon were born from Oikawa while he was under Myotismon's malice, they are in fact Myotismon's children, and they both represent the repressed grief, desperation, and psychological turmoil inside Oikawa's fractured mind. Now, with the origin story out of the way, we are going to get a little deeper on the character of Mummymon. Let us do that. The way I see it, Mummymon is definitely and without a single doubt a Digimon that was, for starters, heavily nerfed, underused and portrayed a bit as a joke character that couldn't really be taken seriously in the Digimon Adventure 2 arc. Let me read its description in that story to prove my point. It says the following, and I quote, "Mummymon normally doesn't act like much of a threat. He is easygoing, goofy and a bit curious, and tends to focus less on the mission and more on flirting with Arukenimon, who he is deeply in love with. Though Arukenimon always rejects him in her arrogance, Mummymon never takes her rejections to heart, remaining optimistic and cheerful." Unquote. The truth is that even if Arukenimon and Mummymon are at the same level, and that Arukenimon may have been portrayed to be stronger, Mummymon would absolutely decimate Arukenimon in a way that would likely shock everyone. For starters, Mummymon belongs to a rare type that does not have many Digimon, but who are overall very powerful and very dangerous. I am talking about the ghost type. To quickly show you 3 powerful members among them, you have Metal Phantomon, and this one in the Digimon D Cyber story had managed to bring events in motion where it fused with Dexmon to become its most powerful version as it finally gained a consciousness. And its level of power, in my eyes, easily reached top 5 across the multiverse, again in my opinion. Second example, you have Dullahamon, who can drag enemies into a floating coffin using a spectral hand and then deconstructs their physical data to assimilate them into a mass of spirits that enshrouds it. A very interesting ghost type Digimon. And then you have Necromon, one of my favorites, who is considered a top class Digimon and probably the best necromancer across the entire Digimon multiverse. These are the types of Digimon that belong in the same group as Mummymon, and to add to it, if Necromon is the best necromancer, Mummymon is actually not far away. It literally was given the title of Necromancer due to its summoning and manipulation of the reluctant souls of annihilated Digimon. And it even has a move called Necrophobia, where it summons ghosts to drive its opponents into maddened death. It's interesting because while Arukenimon can summon countless carnivorous Dokugumon hidden in its abdomen, Mummymon has control over the dead. It summons ghosts, who are naturally weak against holy powers, which is far from the powers Arukenimon possesses, but ghost Digimon are excellent users of magic, hexes, and curses. To add to it, Mummymon can also use its bandages on both of its arms around the opponent and use it to do brainwashing. In the Digimon Ghost game story, it had brainwashed a human being with it. And to finish, if it really doesn't work, it can completely beat down the opponent with its cherished gun that is called Obelisk, and if cornered, it will randomly fire it. So, Mummymon is straight up a badass, except that it wasn't really shown much. And because of its performance in the Digimon Adventure Season 2 story, people have their stereotypical image of it that doesn't really do it justice. But with that being said, we have now finally come to the part I was most excited about. I will say, before going ahead, I'm going to clarify one little thing about Mummimon's Digivolution line. It is said that it can digivolve into Arukenimon. Does it make sense? Maybe it does, maybe not, but we're not going to go through Arukenimon here, but we did go through its profile already. You can check the Explaining Magna Kidmon video for that. Now, as I did tell you before, Mummymon has its origin story in Digimon Adventure Season 2, but there are many other Mummymon across the Digimon multiverse and each can develop in their own way, meaning that they can also have their own separate origin stories. Let me show you once more the map I created in the Digimon Multiverse video, which shows the various Digimon universes. When I finished that 11-hour video and after having gone through most of the Digimon stories, I came to the conclusion that all these Digimon universes are what-if scenarios of one another, but with slight components and variables that changed, creating essentially unlimited scenarios. But despite these changing variables, some aspects tend to appear in many of the stories, or they could easily be included because they serve as sort of constants instead of the variables. One of the constants, the one that is important for this video, is a period, or rather an era, that is now known as the Ancient Digital World. It is a period that is still shrouded in mystery, but what is known from it is that in general it was a chaotic era menaced by terrifying Digimon, and it had suffered major disruptions that brought the digital world to the very brink of collapse. Through the story of Ukomon and Big Ukomon, we can confirm that the ancient digital world in the Digimon Adventure universe did in fact collapse in its entirety before giving birth to the modern digital world. Now, despite the ancient digital world being savage and chaotic, there is one Digimon who evolved from a Mummymon who had absolute rule over many areas and their Digimon inhabitants. That Digimon is Pharaohmon, also one of my favorite Digimon, and one who really is underrated. Pharaohmon was so powerful that it had decreed the swift construction of many of the mysterious ruins that now dot the digital world. Across many Digimon stories happening in the multiverse, Pharaohmon tends to appear many times in either pyramids or ruins of a pyramid or building. In Digimon World 3, you will see it in what is known as the Protocol Ruins. In Digimon Fusion, it occupies the Sand Zone. It is a vast desert littered with pyramids and other ancient ruins. You can find Pharaohmon's tomb over there. Many of these places at their prime have been raised in just a few days, and this shows in what way Digimon were under Pharaohmon's control at the genesis of the digital world. And why would a Digimon even try to confront it if they were to disagree with its means? Pharaohmon is way too powerful, just by the sheer amount of Digimon that would die fighting for it, and then it has itself one move alone that would be enough to straight up stop enemies from even trying. Among the many moves it has one move that is called Necromancy. It's a move where it emits a fear gas that steals the will of hostile Digimon and slowly desiccates their flesh. This leaves the opponent with two options, whether to be lured completely to the world of death or to serve Pharaohmon as an immortal even in death. And don't forget, Mummymon was a necromancer. Pharaohmon is also a necromancer, even if it is categorized as a wizard. And speaking of death, if by any chance someone managed to kill Pharaohmon, then you might make things a bit worse because it is one of the few Digimon that can Death X evolve in its own way. A small reminder, Death X evolution is a way for a Digimon to evolve by giving a powerful survival instinct which compels it to continue to exist even after death. Normally they would become an undead type, but Pharaohmon becomes Anubimon, the guardian and supervisor of the Dark Area, which is Digimon's equivalent of Hell, and it judges the Digimon who have fallen there to see if they are good enough to be resurrected into Digi-Eggs and to come back among the living, or if they have to remain imprisoned there. Mind you, that Anubimon is also a necromancer since it was a Mummymon and also a Pharaohmon. Anubimon can, for example, summon a demonic beast from hell which devours the Digicores of evil Digimon. The name of the attack is called Amit, and Amit is a character in Egyptian mythology. We're talking about an ancient Egyptian goddess with the forequarters of a lion, the hindquarters of a hippopotamus, and the head of a crocodile. These three are the largest man-eating animals known to ancient Egyptians. So that Amit is known as the devourer of the dead. This Amit, unfortunately, isn't really shown that much in all stories where Anubimon has been depicted, and yet, in the brief appearances, I always find it so interesting, so badass, so dope to have that summon. I hope there's going to be done a bit more with it. I have made separate videos of Anubimon. There's one where we explained it through the digivolution line of Cerberumon, and there is also one where we explained what would happen if Anubimon were to be killed, which would result in no one to govern over the Dark Area. I remember I had created a picture that looked quite violent. I wasn't quite proud of myself, thinking back. I hope that the picture can't be seen in the video itself, but anyway, I will put the videos in the description box. Let us get back to Pharaohmon. Its power was so impressive that, in the ancient digital world of the Digimon Ghost game universe, Ancient Sphinxmon was its servant. Mind you that Ancient Sphinxmon is one of the 10 legendary warriors who saved the digital world in countless stories. But we now know that it was a servant of Pharaohmon, which is actually saying a whole lot more about Pharaohmon. Interestingly, Ancient Sphinxmon had survived the collapse of the ancient digital world in the Ghost game story and began a whole operation to bring back Pharaohmon to let it rule over the human world, as Ancient Sphinxmon considered that civilization superior to human civilization. To bring Pharaohmon back, humans were turned to stone, and the slabs would then be used to construct a pyramid that summons Pharaohmon to enslave the entire world. And based on the size of the final pyramid, the number of victims are assumed to rank up to the hundreds of thousands. You see, now that we have discussed the ancient digital world through Pharaohmon, I actually want to discuss the 10 legendary warriors now, one by one, a bit like how I did with the God Great Abmon, but I'm first going to start with the modern legendary warriors. I hope you're going to be excited for that. Which reminds me, by the way, considering the almighty power of Pharaohmon, for reasons I'd like to believe that it would have been the one to create Pyramidimon, and not just as a pyramid, but also as a curse, and perhaps also as its strongest weapon. We went through Pyramidimon's profile entirely, and Pyramidimon is one of my favorite Digimon. Not just is it massive, it is straight up almost unbeatable, and it looks so fiery. But both Pharaohmon and Pyramidimon would make an iconic desert duo. Think about it. Pharaohmon is the golden tyrannical king who ruled through fear and ancient magic, while Pyramidimon is an enormous ancient rune-turned-mineral titan that sleeps disguised as a pyramid. Together they represent the ultimate pharaonic duo. It would really make sense, as the lore actually states that Pharaohmon built mysterious ruins in days, tying neatly into Pyramidimon's origin from ancient rune data. Also, Pyramidimon needs massive energy and sleeps often, contrasting with Pharaohmon's restless, imposing, undead dominance. What would you guys think about it? Let me know in the comment section. Hi guys, this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. With all this information, how do you look at Mummymon and how do you look at Pharaohmon? Would you agree that they are heavily underutilized despite already having shown that they have crazy potential? Let me know in the comment section. Eric Ledger, a big thank you for your mail. That's what pushed me to make the video. I hope I did it justice and I hope you enjoyed it. And guys, please don't forget to like the video and drop a comment in the comment section. I mean, if you write a certain request, I'm going to go over that question and will make that video. Don't forget to subscribe, it means the world to me, and know that all Digimon videos are placed in various Digimon playlists on the channel, which are always updated, that way you can easily catch up to newer and older videos.